going on? Ryan here, setthepacetriathlon.com, and we're doing another live video. Today we're going to be talking about IRONMAN Chattanooga and specifically the athlete guide. So I know the race is coming up. At the time of this recording is September 21st. The race is on September 26th, coming up this weekend. But I just want to make sure, because everybody is usually always posting in different various Facebook groups of questions about the race, logistics, and all this other stuff. 99.9% of the time, the questions are answered in Athlete Guide. If they're not, then the recommendations usually go to the official Facebook page, and usually they've got answers there. And just pay attention to your emails and make sure you read all the information that comes out in your emails for the race-specific events. But with that, I want to jump in, kind of 10,000-foot view of the Athlete Guide and what I think is kind of the most important things to pick out of there and what you should and shouldn't maybe print. Because that's always the key is let's save the trees, right? And don't use up all your printer ink and don't print all 60 pages of the athlete guide because you may not need it all. So let's just jump right in. You can see on the back of the screen there, IRONMAN Chattanooga. Go to the website, hit athletes, go to athlete guide, and it's got this nice, beautiful cover. You hit the download the PDF, and there it is. So what I like to do is I go ahead and you can't see it up here on the screen, but I save it to my desktop. That way I can go back and review it later if I'm doing the race or something like that. And I go back and print it off in whatever pages, and that way if something happens, you can download it on the cloud. You can have it available for you there. So if you don't want to go to the website and all this other stuff, you can always have access to it. So I'll kind of hit the pages that I do print and the ones I don't print, because right now this is, you can't really see here on the screen, it's 62 pages. So if you printed that front and back, that's 30 pages, which is a lot kind of to staple and carry around and keep them in place. So I kind of go through and just pick out the highlights. I usually print off the front page just because it looks nice. That's just me. Table of contents, I usually don't print that off. Don't really need it. I keep the pages in the proper order. If you want to read up, and some of this stuff I'll print off and then I'll read through it later when I have a little bit more downtime. So you can read about the race director. Sometimes I print that off just to kind of, put a face with a name. It's not just some random Ironman guy. Usually it is kind of a local person and very devoted to the sport. A lot of the race directors are not direct Ironman employees. Some are, some aren't. But anyway, you can read up about him. The event schedule, definitely print this off. Have it with you at all times. They have that listed separate on the website under the event schedule, but it is also in the athlete guide. So if you print off the athlete guide, you'll get the event schedule. I would definitely print this off. Make sure you're checking back in on the website as you get closer. Hopefully they don't change anything the week of, but you never know. Some events, we're dealing with the pandemic right now. Some events have been changing the restrictions and requirements of maybe face mask in Ironman Village and other places. So just make sure you're staying on top of that stuff. What I also do like is, it tells you the locations where all this stuff is happening. And one thing I like about Ironman Chattanooga, everything is at Ross's Landing. I mean, transition is drop-offs where you go to hit the shuttles to go to the swim start. Everything, Ironman Village. It's all at Ross's Landing. They got restaurants. You can park your car and you can spend your time there and get food and check in, all this other good stuff. But anyway, back to the race specifics. So notice no Saturday or race day check-in. So in 2019, they did have Saturday check-in, but this year they're not. So make sure you read the event schedule to find out when you get check-in. If you get there Saturday, unless you made special arrangements, you're not going to be able to check in for the race, and you're going to be hosed. The other important keys is, besides check-in and gear and bike drop-offs and stuff like that, is the Ironman store. So I've been telling people since I went to 70.3 Des Moines and Ironman Tulsa, the kind of the first events here in North America to be kicking off. If you see something in that store, I would highly recommend you get there sooner than later. And if you see something you like, you better go ahead and plunk down your money for it and get it, because usually this stuff is gone. The good, cool stuff is usually gone the first day that the Ironman Village is open. So I'm just going to give everybody a word of warning. If you want the cool stuff, you're either going to have to get it on race day or cross your fingers that it comes out online later so you can buy it from the website. So that's my 2 cents worth on the Ironman store. And if you, first thing you do is check your bike. And if you got any problems, you need to get to the Ironman Village. Play try is the mechanics on site. So if you have a problem with your bike, that's the time to get it in there as soon as possible, because they're great. I've had problems with a brake rubbing and never been able to fix it really quick. But the closer you get to bike drop off and everything, the slam they get, and the more slam they get, and they're already doing tune-ups, all kinds of other stuff. So get in there as soon as possible. that's my plug for if you come in Thursday. And they got in-person athlete briefings. A lot of races are also doing the virtual, so pay attention to the Facebook pages. They'll publish those as well. So you got athlete check-in briefings. Become one first-timer athlete walkthrough. So in the past, I'd been regional Ironman University head coach, and I'd gone to IRONMAN Chattanooga 2018, 2019, so I'd help with Become One first-timer athlete walkthrough. So we go through the course, kind of highlights, what we think you should be watching out for, and then we do some Q&A. So if you're a first-timer, I'd highly recommend you stop by and check that out, just to listen to see if you can pick up any last-minute tidbits. Athlete briefing, live music, so that's different, 5 to 6, and then opening ceremony, 6 to 7. So back in the day, 2018, 2019, we didn't have opening ceremonies, so they're doing a little bit different situation and kind of doing some different things. So opportunity for you there to kind of catch some live entertainment and some action there. Saturday, Chattanooga Fun Run for the kids. So if you want to get them involved, you can. Ironman Village is open still. The official store, mandatory athlete bike and gear check-in. So you got to check in your bike, you got to check in your run, and your bike gear. You do get access to all those things in race day morning, but you have to drop it off before 3 p.m. And the weather this year is looking actually kind of nice, but when it's been warm in the past, I always caution people, don't overinflate your tires. You can always come in, bring an air pump, inflate them, and give them to a Sherpa, or it's kind of take your chances. If you bring a bike pump, usually it's a little bit different than a regular Ironman or a regular triathlon. You can't leave your stuff at your bike in transition, so you run the risk of not being able to find a place for a pump or putting it someplace and maybe it's not there at the end of the race. So take that with a grain of salt. Usually they have air pumps there for people to use from the tech people, but towards race start, everybody's trying to get that stuff in and use it. So just plan accordingly with your tire pressure and stuff. Temperature this year looks pretty good, so I don't think overinflating your tires is going to be much of a problem. Check in athlete briefings. So race day, when transition area opens, 4:30 a.m. So that's when they start shuttles too. So this is one race I would highly recommend you get there as early as possible, get situated, get your stuff situated, check your bike, check your gear bags, drop off your special needs stuff, get everything squared away. And when you feel good about it, double check and then get your gear, your morning bag, and all your stuff you're going to take to the swim start, and then head out on the shuttles. Just because you don't want to be caught stressed out trying to get to the swim start, because the swim start is a separate area from the transition area. So notice no swim start parking, and you could technically walk there, but it's kind of a long walk. So plan on catching shuttles, plan on getting there early to make sure you get there. 7:30 a.m. age group start. It is interesting. I believe there are professionals swimming or racing, so that could be a little bit different for the event schedule. Let's just check the website. I'm just kind of curious about that. Now that I see it, Saturday. Let's see if we can view the full event schedule. Age group start 7:30. So yeah, interesting. I'm pretty sure professionals are racing, so that time may change a little bit. So just make sure you pay attention to that. And then they get all this other 10 p.m. to 12:40 a.m. finisher party, come out and cheer on the final finishers. So it's kind of not a true party, but I mean, there's a lot of people there at the finish line cheering people on. So that's always nice. And then Monday they got some stuff as well. If you think you're qualifying for the World Championships in 2022, you got to be there in person, or else you can't claim it or anything like that. Notice it's all at Ross's Landing. So print these pages off. Know the event schedule. That's my 2 cents out of that one. Athlete check-in. So this is all the information. I print this off to make sure you know where you're going, what you need to bring, all the steps to check in. Advertisement. I will not print that off. Pre-race health questions. This is what they'll ask you to answer yes or no to find out, with the whole COVID situation, to see if you should be there to begin with, and if you got a situation that they need to address. So hopefully by now we're all kind of used to this kind of stuff, and you're not showing up if you don't feel well. Pre-race info. This is just all the pre-event swim advisements. Majority of our events are held locations. So some of the stuff is ubiquitous for all the Ironman races, and some of it is specific to races. So just make sure you're checking. In the past, they've had event or pre-swims, but it doesn't look like you're having your pre-swim. So if you're going to try to swim in the river, you just pay attention to what you're doing, and if they don't allow you to do it, don't go rogue. You could get a DNF or something like that if you decide to go swim in the river and you're not allowed to, and they told you not to, all that kind of fun stuff. Bike check-in. So just all the pre-race info. I definitely print this page off and have it. Gear bags. I've done several videos on the whole gear bag situation for bike, run, morning clothes, and special needs for bike and the run. So print this page off and has a little bit more information for you. Race day info. I definitely print this off so you know kind of the schedule of everything. I would print off the advertisements. And waiting for a page to load, so that's our advertisement. Wouldn't print that off. Race day info, timing cutoffs. So if you're worried about cutoffs, print this page off. Timing tips, all that good stuff. Wetsuit optional. Doesn't look like right now. It's probably, I don't think it's ever been wetsuit legal for the full at IRONMAN Chattanooga. So, bring a full wetsuit. Usually it's optional, and then you start towards the back of the group if you think you need it. If not, I always brought mine and then brought a speed suit. So this is just the information on wetsuit optional. Advertisement, would not print that off. Post race info, I'd go ahead and print that off. Just read it for later. Advertisement, I would not print that off. So if you kind of get the gist by now, a lot of these pages are advertisements. So I just would not just hit print. Maybe if you're at work and the boss doesn't care if you're eating up the paper and the ink, but at home I do kind of care a little bit more. Qualifying. So if you think you're going to qualify for World Championships, I think this is a good page to have. If you're not worried about it and you don't think you're going to qualify or you're going to win an age group spot, probably wouldn't print this page off. But anyway, advertisement. So this one's nice. I would go ahead and print all this information off. So, you can go back to the website. And I've hit the courses in the past and talked about them a little bit. So, you can go through and print each one of these off. But then it's in the athlete guide. Swim is pretty straightforward. It's downriver. All the information about that. Swim course rules. Will not print that off. No advertisements. Maybe print off the swim start checklist. Again, it's something you just print off if you think you're going to read it, and just read it for later. This one's kind of nice. It's got the bike course information on there. Turn by turn instructions. And then the elevation profiles. I would not print that page off. Advertisement. The bike course rules. Go ahead and read up on those. Know what the penalties are. Know what drafting and all that kind of fun stuff. Bike course. I'd go ahead and print that page off. I would skip that advertisement. Cycle Smart. I'd go ahead and print that off just to make sure. Like I said, some of these athlete guides are a little bit ubiquitous from race to race. Sometimes they have very race-specific information because some races are very specific because some states, cities, municipalities, and stuff have different rules, and Ironman's got to play by them. Skip that page. Again, I talked about the bike store and tech information. PlayTry is their partner this year. They got tune-up packages. So if you got a situation where you help assembling or inspection or something like that, if you got a bike problem, go there as soon as possible. Don't wait because they're going to get slammed. That's my advertisement for getting in with Bike Tech. Wheel rental, if you want race wheels, you might be a little late at this point in time, but it might be an opportunity. So check that out. Advertisement. The run course. Nice map, so you can print this off and take it with you and know the run course because there will be a little bit of suffering out there. So just be ready for that. It's 1,100 feet of elevation. Notice some very steep hills on there. So run course information. I was like, athletes may run, walk, or crawl. So if you need to crawl, I guess you can, just as long as you're making cutoffs. Rules, so I'd go ahead and print that off, skip this page. Overall rules, go ahead and print that off, read it. Like I said, there's some probably race-specific information in there that you can read up just for Ironman Chattanooga. Physically challenged, if you're in a division, I'd print that page off. Violations, I'd go ahead and print this off just so you know, chin straps, race numbers, littering, unauthorized equipment, outside assistance, time penalties, no phones, stuff like that. If it's in the athlete guide and you're going to go race, you're acknowledging that you are abiding by all the rules. You can't go back and say, well, I didn't know that was not in the rules. It's in the athlete guide, so read the athlete guide. 99.9% of your questions are in the athlete guide, and they're answered in there. Medical policy, you always don't think you need medical until you need medical. Unfortunately, I use the medical tent, and might be worth your while to just read through, just make sure you know what's going on with it. Skip the advertisements. If you're doing all world athlete, you're kind of going for that. Maybe print this page off so you have a little information on that. Some more advertisements. Frequently asked questions. So I go ahead and print this off just so you have it. Again, print it off now and take it with you. You can read it. An athlete checklist. I've got several out there, but if you need one, they've got one there in the athlete guide. Again, I just go through and I print specific pages just because I won't print. This is the end of it. This is 62 pages. So I would definitely not print this entire thing off. Go back to the top, put something nice on the screen. So that's my 2 cents worth. I like to do this for different events. Just go through the athlete guide and kind of show you what's in there. They've got everything answered. Where the shuttle's leaving from for the swim start, where do I need to drop all my stuff off, when do I need to drop it off, where do I need to be, and when do I need to be there, can I check in on Saturday, can I bring my bike in on race morning. All those questions are going to be answered in the athlete guide. So I make these videos just to drive home the point that the athlete guide is there. It's out there for the race. Download it, print the pages off you need, and that way you have most of your questions answered. If not, then go to the Facebook groups. I would not go to Facebook groups first and then go to the athlete guide. I would do it the other way around. Athlete guide's there. It's ready. Print it off. Check it out. And get all your questions answered. So with that, hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up on if you're watching on Facebook Live or you watch it later on Facebook. If you're seeing this on YouTube, give it a like as well. Give me a subscribe, hit notifications, and maybe I'll hit a race that you're doing. If you're not doing IRONMAN Chattanooga, if you're doing a race that I haven't covered, put that in the comments, and maybe I'll put that on my radar as well to cover in the future. Give you my 2 cents worth on those races. If you have any other questions specifically about Chattanooga or anything, put it in the comments. I'd like to get as much feedback as possible to make sure this is worth your time, to make sure it's worth my time to do it for you guys. With that, happy training out there. And for you doing IRONMAN Chattanooga this weekend, good luck out there. Have a great time. The weather looks great. So I'm definitely envious of you. Have fun out there.